Let's do this. We're going to talk about high conflict attorneys and how to get our attorneys to help us way better than what they probably are. I had a really great attorney from, I believe, was she from Australia or the UK or maybe Canada? Shit, I don't remember. Anyways, I saw her stitch me yesterday. Why do I still have daylight? I'm in Alabama. I saw her stitch me yesterday, and she had a really good video about me talking about high conflict and such. But then I watched one of her videos today, and she said that too many of us are trying to rely upon us getting our ex diagnosed or talked about that they're a narcissist. And she said, I wish more of my clients would just accept the fact that their ex is not a narcissist and they're just an asshole. And to that, I would say, okay, they're an asshole. How do you propose I still deal with them? So even if they're not diagnosed a narcissist, or even though, you don't have a medical diagnosis per se, they're still an asshole to deal with, right? So she didn't give any resolution in her TikTok. She just is more harping on the fact that a lot of us are wanting to use the word narcissist or narcissism or narcissistic personality disorder. And again, I'm not a big fan of throwing that around. That's why I just call them high conflict people. And so I want you to be wary that that is kind of a taboo word to say to your attorney. So here's what we're going to do today. We are going to run through how to have your attorney help you a little bit better, how to make sure you've picked the right attorney. Now, what makes me qualified to talk about this? First and foremost, I'm a divorce mediator, certified and trained. I specialize in high conflict, and I've been doing this for a decade. So that's what gives me my expertise. Now, on Tuesday, I will be running a workshop where I'm going to go into this all with more detail. I'm going to be talking about parenting plans. If any of you have followed me for a hot minute, you know that I've been teaching parenting plans for over 2 years. It's my specialty. I did take the months of November and December off, but I am back with a vengeance on teaching you all about parenting plans. So if you know somebody that's going through a divorce, you have a girlfriend, a coworker, an aunt, a neighbor, a father, anybody that you know that's going through a divorce, please like and share this and send this over to them right now so they can at least get a glimpse of me, what I'm about, how I talk, how I speak. You're going to notice a few things. Number one, I talk really fast. Number two, I'm going to cuss. And number three, I'm going to talk like I'm just like you, because I have been you. I've been divorced for over 18 years, and I have a son and daughter out of that divorce. I am remarried, and I have 2 more sons out of my second marriage. So I have been on both sides of this table. I understand it. I respect it. And I wish I would have had somebody like myself earlier in the game. So again, check the link in the bio for the link to the workshop. But let's kind of dive in to how do I make sure I pick the right attorney? Because I think for a lot of us, we screw this up. We pick the wrong attorney because we don't really understand and fully know where we are in our divorce. We think sometimes, like for me, I thought that my ex-husband and I would work together and we'd just get divorced. Both of us were miserable. Let's just do this thing. Let's get a divorce and move the fuck on. Did not realize that he had his own agenda up his sleeve, right? And so here I am going in and getting an estate attorney, and he's going and getting the top dog in town. Well, then how did I have to respond? I had to go get number 2 best attorney in town. And what did that get me? But a lot of money spent and wasted, right? So I think understanding what you're up against is your first obstacle. But then number 2, really taking the time and spending the money on finding that right attorney. So let's dive into this. And again, in 72 hours, I will be running a workshop. So please hold your seats. And I told you the other day, I'm only going to hold it open to 200 people. And I believe at this point, we're at 164. So there's only limited space for you to jump in there because I'm going to cap it out at 200 spots. So there's only like 30 some spots left. Okay. 36 spots left. If I can do math in my head really fast. As of the start of this video at 5 o'clock on Friday the 3rd, that's how many spots I have left. So if you want to be one of those 36, please don't hesitate to jump in that link right now and grab a spot for that. But let's dive into this. Okay, first and foremost, getting a family law attorney. Here is where step number 1, people go wrong. They, for whatever reason, think that they can just hire, like I did, an estate attorney or an attorney that does criminal and family. What I don't want is an attorney that knows a lot about a lot. I want an attorney that knows a hell of a lot about my subject, which is family law. But a lot of attorneys, especially in small towns, will dabble in 3 or 4 different subjects. And that's where I really just don't want you. If you know you're going to be high conflict, and again, go back and watch yesterday's videos. Everything is still on my Facebook business page. You can go to Samantha Boss, The Ugly Truth of Divorce on Facebook and find those old videos from the past couple of days and watch those. And we talked about what is high conflict. And again, if you answered yes to any of those yesterday that we talked about, you're high conflict. You need an attorney that's going to specialize. So first and foremost, we only want our attorney to specialize in high conflict. Number 2, we want them to know what the words high conflict mean. And if your attorney gives you the fart face, as we call it in this family, you want to make sure that you just skip on to another attorney. You have to have an attorney that understands that this is a high conflict situation. These are not 2 people that are going to get along when the ink dries. These are not 2 people that are going to do best by kids. This is one party that is throwing a kink in the hose and it's just not working anymore. And guess what? That kink in that hose will always be there and it won't ever work. So you have to have a family law attorney that understands, like, it's not just somebody that's a narcissist. It's somebody that is truly an asshole that is going to go against every single fucking thing you offer up. Every single thing that you say you need or the kids need, or hey, can we do this? Or hey, I think this is what's best, or hey, this opportunity. They're going to resist no matter what. You say black, they say white. Okay, so you have to have an attorney that says the words, uses the words, and respects the words of high conflict. They have to have courtroom experience. Now, why does my attorney, amongst any other kind of attorney, need courtroom experience? Because if I'm divorcing somebody of high conflict, I am going to be using the court system to get shit done. This is something that you have to have radical acceptance on. This is not going away. This is the reality of the situation. High conflict people don't go to the kitchen table and talk about their divorce. They don't go to mediation and settle things. They get everything told to them through a court system using a judge. Now, again, on Tuesday, less than 72 hours, we will be covering how to handle yourself against somebody of high conflict. Okay. How do you ask for certain things? How do I get a parenting plan over to these type of people? That's what you're going to learn inside that workshop on Tuesday. Now, the other thing, custody focused. If we know anything about high conflict people, they are all about the money, right? And I know that I'm about the children. Okay, so the counter to high conflict people focus on money, I'm going to focus on kids. But there has to be this balance where I can't tell them that I'm about the kids because then I show my cards. So you have to have an attorney that understands that. You have to have somebody that really knows that this is a chess match, not checkers. If you go in saying, hey, the most important thing to me is my kids, and your attorney walks over to the other attorney and says, hey, the most important thing is her kids, she doesn't care about the money, well, that just sends like goosebumps over to your ex who's high conflict. They love that. Okay, they love the idea of that. And again, if you guys are liking this, please share it with somebody. I know all of us at least know 10 people right now that are going through a divorce. Share this over to them, get them over here, get them introduced to the real truth, the ugly truth about divorce. Okay, get them over to this page, wherever you're following from, and get people on board with getting some truth told to them. Okay, so the other thing, the strategy. Here's where I think a lot of my clients have attorneys that are probably really great. They're really great at family law. They're probably really great in the courtroom. But where they fall short from the beginning is they wait to play defense against a high conflict client. So if my ex, let's just give a hypothetical here. Let's say that my ex is high conflict and his attorney is sending over motions and sending over motions. And all my attorney does is sit back and wait for the motion to go to court, waits to reply back in court, just kind of like sits back and plays it low key. That doesn't always work in high conflict. We have to be the aggressor. I always say fight fire with fire when we're dealing with high conflict, because what we're doing is we got to set a tone. We have to set a precedent of who we are. We're not somebody that's going to sit back and let somebody talk shit about us and make false allegations and accuse us of everything under the moon. We are literally going to fight fire with fire. If they want to throw an accusation at me, guess what? I'm going to throw one back. But the difference is I have fucking receipts. I have actual shit that can be proven. They're just over there running their fucking mouth. You have to have an attorney that says, oh, they did what to you? Oh, we're going to do something about that. I have probably no less than 7 clients right now who have attorneys that are playing way passively and not being aggressive. Well, what does that do to high conflict people? they get all pumped up, man. They think their shit doesn't stink. Now they're sending over derogatory text messages. Now they're talking to me at the exchange that my attorney told your attorney, yeah, you're going to lose in court. Oh, and they just dominate everything while we're sitting over there going, am I going to get my day in court? Is there anything going to happen? Am I going to win at anything? Okay. So again, when we hire someone, we're talking about attorneys today. So if you're just joining me, we're talking about how to make sure you get a really good attorney for your high conflict situation. But again, on Tuesday at the workshop, we are going to dive in. It's going to be 2 hours long. We're going to dive. It's probably going to be closer to 3. It's for $97. So it's less than, $40 or $45 an hour. You are going to dive in to learning about all the things parenting plan, all the things about all the things about parenting plans, boundaries, how to help your kids, because the only way to protect your kids in a divorce is making sure you have really good paperwork to know that you are following the rules, and it proves that the other side is not. So if you don't have a good parenting plan, you're basically just saying, I'm better than you. And it's from my interpretation versus I'm better than you. I'm following the fucking rules of the parenting plan. So if you don't know what parenting plans are yet, please, for the love of God, join me on Tuesday. Link in bio to join. Okay, $97, and I'm only taking like 36 more spots. So that's as far as that's going to go. So let's keep going on how we find the best attorney. So we want them to be proactive. The other thing is we want them to have negotiating skills. We want them to be able to say this for that. My client wants this, then she's willing to give you that. If you give me this, we'll sign today. They got to be good on the counter offers, where I see a lot of attorneys say, I'll get back to you. Well, 3 or 4 days go by and they just now send it over to me. Hey, if we had something going there back and forth, I got to be able to get to that. I want to know that right away, because maybe there is this small window where my high conflict ex is wanting to actually negotiate and get something accomplished. I got to be able to take advantage of that. The other thing is my attorney has to know when to not tell me shit, especially in high conflict. This is something you guys got to talk about when you are going through the consult. Hey, Larry, the lawyer, you really shitty lawyer, I don't want you to text me and call me every single time they throw a red flag over on our side. I need boundaries with that. I need you to protect me. Only tell me when there's a huge fire, not all these little smoking burners. Okay. I need to know when there's something big, because if you're the type of person with severe anxiety, every time your attorney calls, you're already getting anxious. All right. And then every time that they call and they add to your pile, that makes it worse and worse, because then you're sitting there going, okay, what do I do? And your attorney's like, well, what do you want to do? Don't fucking call me, Larry, unless you're giving me 3 options on what I can do. You just told me a big, huge bomb and you're telling me I need to figure out what we do. This is your fucking job. All right. So you need to have an attorney that understands you're going to have some boundaries with things. All right. Now, client support. Here's another one where attorneys in high conflict situations, like I kind of alluded to, they're not really responsive. They wait 3 or 4 days. They leave you. You're calling in a panic of like, hey, there's a fire over here at my house and my ex-husband's the one that started it. They get back to you 3 days later like, well, did you call the police? You're like, where were you 3 days ago? So you really need to have an attorney that has a good team, because not only will your attorney be able to get a hold of you, your attorney's in court, your attorney has other clients, which by the way, you should know how many clients your attorney has. So you have to be able to know you have a paralegal on staff. You have another attorney that, hell, I had one time where my attorney went for vacation. If you're in high conflict, your attorney can't go on vacation and leave you nobody. You have to have a backup attorney. So some of you that are picking offices with only one attorney present in that office, you're fucked in high conflict, because nobody can step in and pretend to be them. You need to have an office that has 2 or 3 attorneys, and that way nobody is ever leaving you hanging dry. Okay. So again, join that workshop on Tuesday. It's going to be 2.5 hours. You get a worksheet. You get all kinds of stuff. You're getting this list that I'm going through right now. You're also going to get the list that we did the other day, talking about how you decide if you're high conflict or not. So we covered a few things. Clear communication. So what I don't like, and tell me if this has happened to you with your attorney, where they send over the cover letter. Okay. Your ex has accused you of something, and they send over the motion to say, ex-husband wants more custody time. And they're accusing mother of abandoning the children with a neighbor for 4 days in a row. And this big, huge cover letter about how mom left town for 4 days, left the neighbor. And now this never happened. But this cover letter, I read it and I freak out. I'm like, first off, my neighbor watched my kids for 30 minutes so I could run to the store and get eggs. It wasn't for 4 days. It was 30 minutes because one child was sleeping. That neighbor has come over to our house 100 times. They know the kids. So it's something that was this, and your ex made it into this, but they sent over that cover letter. You know what I hate about attorneys when it comes to those cover letters? There is really no reason for them to send that cover letter to me, because all it does is trigger me and get me all worked up and all upset. They send it without telling me why they're sending it. They send it to me without saying, hey, I'm going to send you something. Don't worry. It's kind of a joke. It's a soap opera. Pay no attention to it. So again, these are all things that I have to get ahead of when I hire said attorney. Okay. They need to know, look, I ain't here to play t-ball. We're in the major leagues here of craziness, and you got to be able to keep up. You got to be able to communicate to me appropriately and protect my peace as well. The other thing that I wish more attorneys were better at is empathy. And I think that's why divorce coaches like myself are becoming more and more popular, because attorneys' offices don't have the time or personnel to really handhold anymore. And they can't. It's not their job. As this woman that stitched me the other day, she did a great job of saying, I love Sam because she's the support that other people need. I can't give this to my clients. I can't be their friend. I'm too expensive. Right? So hiring somebody that has been on that side of the table, maybe, or somebody that completely understands you're breaking up your family. You're not going to see your kids as often. You're going to be financially broke. You're going to be sharing holidays. You're going to miss the first things of a lot of things that your children do. You're going to have those awkward moments in public. You're going to have those weird things at sporting events that you just don't know how to handle. So all of these things are people like me, divorce coaches. We've been there. We know it. We've lived it. We've been through it. We've had training. We have our own therapy. We're on the other side of things. And therefore we can handhold you a little bit. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, and those people have private access to me, right? And so they're sending me play by play. Hey, this message got sent to me. Hey, my lawyer said this to me. Hey, my ex, sent me a text message. What do I do? And I'm able to literally sit there and say, respond back this way. Here's what I would do. Here's a strategy. Ask your attorney. And I type things up for people. So again, that's one benefit about being inside of my ecosystem. And how do you get a part of my ecosystem? You jump in with the workshop. The workshop is on Tuesday. So you got to make sure you hit that. Okay. So here's a couple other things, and then we'll wrap up and maybe open it up to a really quick Q&A before I dive out of here. But the other thing is really look at reputation. And here is one that I wish more attorneys would really kind of like open their eyes and understand, is that if attorneys would do a better job at serving you 100%, at making sure that you get that divorce coach, ensuring that they get you into therapy, ensuring that they handhold you, they call you back, they get you a killer parenting plan, which I can teach you that. I really wish they'd do a better job, so we would do what? Refer them to 100 people a time. But when they wrongdo us, like my first two attorneys did, and they just take my money and don't get shit for it, I badmouth them, right? So I really want you to do your due diligence about really going in and not just saying, hey, what'd you think of this attorney? And they're like, oh, it was good. No, what was the response time? How much did they call you? How much did they include you? Did they give you a parenting plan early? Did they work with you? Did they walk you through things? Did they go through your evidence? Did they explain things? I want you asking more detailed questions, because you might be getting somebody after a win. Oh, they were great. They got me what I wanted. But how was that process for that person? Was it absolute hell and misery? So you have to make sure you ask really good questions when you're asking for reputation. So the number one thing I hate, pet peeve of mine, is when I jump on Facebook and I see people saying, anybody want to refer a family law attorney? Not for me, for a friend. Okay, well, we all know it's probably for you or your sister, because you've spewed your whole personal life on social media, your whole fucking adult life. But the other thing of that is you're not asking the right questions. Okay. You need to ask very pinpointed questions when you're getting a referral. Just like I would hope that people that are coming to me and saying, hey, is Sam any good at divorce coaching? That it wouldn't just be that question. It would be like, hey, how is her response time? What does her parenting plan look like? Is it really detailed? Does she handhold? Does she call you back? Does she give you why she's doing it? Is there extra trainings? Is there more support? I would hope, and I know for a fact, all of those answers are really good and clean for me. As you're seeing in the comment section of people that have worked with me, they understand that my parenting plan that I produce for people and the people that I teach this to inside of this workshop, people go to this workshop and they walk away saying, my attorney has never taught me this much. My attorney has never told me this much. I had no idea that was even a possibility. I didn't understand what any of those things were, but now I do. People walk away from my workshop feeling validated and educated. And when you're heading into a divorce, those are two things that I know you don't have. You feel stupid, you feel uneducated, and you feel like, am I making the wrong choice for my kids? I don't want to fuck this up. I don't want to lose my kids. I don't want to make a mistake now that's going to impact me later. I don't want to make a mistake that's going to impact the long term. And you totally second guess yourself forever. So on Tuesday, January 7th at 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern, that's 3 o'clock Pacific time, 4 o'clock Mountain time, we will be doing a live workshop on Zoom. Is it recorded? 100%. Will you be sent the recording along with all of the worksheets? 100%. Is it something that's $97? Sure. Is that really cheap and affordable in comparison to how much you're going to be spending on your divorce? Yes. Is it the best money you're going to spend? I can without a doubt say yes, because you're going to understand, well, what is right of first refusal? What is vacation time? What is holiday time? What should I do about medical expenses? You're going to get your head wrapped around all those things. And I'm going to give you perspective. I'm going to give you, hey, your attorney could make your parenting plan for you. 100% your attorney will make your parenting plan for you. And it's probably an extra additional cost at your attorney's office. And I'm sure it's probably a template that has been used since, the turn of time, since the 80s. And it hasn't really upgraded to where we are in this world today, with kids being super busy in extracurriculars, with deductibles being as high as they are, with insurance costs being as high as they are, extracurriculars being outrageous, with visitations and holidays. The holiday schedule is, crazy busy, all this time off of school, decision making, and we're living in a 50-50 world now. So you really need to get ahead of all of these things and understand what are your options. Your attorney isn't going to give your option. You know what your attorney is going to say? Here's what's best. Here's what a judge wants you to say. Here's what a judge needs you to do. Sam, you need to be the bigger person. Sam, you need to make sure you do this. Sam, just do what's best for your children and just sign this. No, Larry, I'm not going to sign something that's going to fuck me on the long end 5 years from now when you're not on my staff. So I really want you to do your due diligence when it comes to your attorney. I want you to ask harder questions. Don't get bamboozled like I did. I got bamboozled because there was Dove chocolates in the fucking bathroom. There was marble countertops and marble floors. And my attorney walked in with high heels and shoulder pads before they got cool again. And I was like, oh God, she's the shit. She is the shit. And I got bamboozled. I sat there and went, And I was saying yes to stuff I didn't even know what she was talking about because I was too chicken shit to even ask. And I was sitting there as a very educated, I had 2 master's degrees sitting there, but I didn't have a master's degree in family law. And I had no idea what the fuck she was talking about, but I sure as fuck said, yeah, sounds great. Didn't read my contract, signed it, handed it back to her. And I said, I'll give you your retainer tomorrow. Gave her $10,000. That $10,000 was gone in 3 fucking months. And when I went back and looked at my contract, oh my gosh, it was like, we're going to bill you for staples. We're going to bill you for calling even when you don't answer. Now I'm being facetious and I'm being very sarcastic, but that's basically what I was paying for, was her to make phone calls and nothing got accomplished. Her to send me a letter and nothing got accomplished. I didn't know the right things to ask, but the very first thing I messed up on was not recognizing that I was in a high conflict situation. I truly thought, as most of you do, there's no way this will get Dateline special. There's no way this will get that bad. There's no way that my ex will do this. Sure as shit they will. Sure as shit they will. And you know what happens to every single one of you that are going through a divorce with children? Every single fucking one of you will end up with a parenting plan, a child agreement of what you're doing with your children. Do you want to write that? Do you want to know what it says? Or are you going to leave that up to your attorney? Because I'm going to tell you, your attorney, their job is to advise you, right? And say whether that's a good or bad decision. You need to bring the decision up. You need to be the one writing it. You need to be the one in control of it. How will you learn that? You'll come to the workshop on Tuesday. And I can tell you right now, 5 people already bought. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as we've been talking. So now we're down to 31 spots. 31 spots. And again, when it's up to 200, I'm closing it out, okay? Because that's how many people I want to have. So once it gets there, we're down, okay? So make sure that you really take advantage of that. All right, Facebook, I'm going to duck out. I want to make sure that all of you go back and watch this replay if you missed the beginning, because I literally walked you through step by step by step on making sure that you get the right kind of attorney. Is there more to it than that? Absolutely. Where will you find that? Tuesday at the workshop. Okay. Let me hit that link right here inside of that. And then TikTok, I'll head over to you guys and answer some really quick questions. Give me 1 second to copy this over. I'm putting the link for the workshop right now inside of all the Facebook pages that are watching. And again, if you're one of my support groups, I only do this once a month. So if you miss the boat now, you got to wait all the way till February to go at it again. I don't sell it throughout. I only do it on the one Tuesday a month, and I'm going to do it next February on the one Tuesday of that month. So you'll have to wait a whole nother 30 days if you miss this. So if you know somebody that's going through it, go buy it for them and send them the link when you get the email. This could be the best friend present you have ever given somebody going through a divorce. I want you to really think about buying this for somebody and sending them the email to where they have the link. Worth every penny, this woman's word. Thank you. Thank God for it. See, Shell, thank you so much. I just got goosebumps. Thank you so much. You guys, I have been you and I've made all the wrong mistakes and I don't want that to happen to you. And it starts with not having an education about what your attorneys are talking about. Okay. You got to make sure that you understand the words that are coming out of everyone's mouth, and don't sit there and be a yes man like I was, like, yeah, sure, yep, and because none of that worked out for me. Because then I'm like, well, wait a second, what about this? And she's like, I told you that a couple months ago. And I'm like, well, I didn't understand what you said, and it was already too late. Okay. So Facebook, go back and watch the beginning of this, and I wish you luck. And I'm always here to answer questions. I'll be on live again later tomorrow and Monday, unless those spots fill up. Okay. So again, only like 30 some spots left. Be one of the 200 that get in there. Okay. I'll see you guys.